What's up, everybody? I'm lawyer Wynton alongside Peter Speroni. We are the Web3 attorneys, and today we're going to be talking about how Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook just announced at South by Southwest that NFTs are coming to Instagram. How? We don't know yet because he didn't really give that much information. So we're just going to kind of speculate about what we think about it. Peter, they've been talking about this for a while. Why do you why do you think NFTs now with Instagram?
Like you said, there's not a whole lot of information that we have received so far from the Zuck, as they say. It was only a matter of time, right? Until obviously you're looking at Facebook, Meta, change their name to Meta. So they're jumping into the Metaverse, Oculus, Quest 2, all of that kind of tech world, flipping over to the Metaverse, changing the name of their company. So it was only a matter of time until their other platforms follow too, because Facebook, Meta anticipates obviously that this Web3 industry, this tech industry is a revolution and it is the future. So Instagram jumping into the game as well. Um, I mean, as we have often said, the issues with intellectual property within the NFT space are completely unresolved at this point. And that's where my mind goes first on hearing Instagram is going to provide the ability to mint an NFT as
Yeah,
well, is what we're hearing.
yeah, you're right. They're with Meta. They're getting in the Metaverse. For a long time, we've been hearing Instagram is dead. People aren't on Instagram. They shifted their model to like more of a shopping model where people could shop direct on Instagram and hit the little things on people's pictures and buy and all that stuff. It almost feels like to me Instagram is like flailing around trying to figure out who it is again because it was trying to compete with all these other platforms, and then TikTok came out and took over, and then it was trying to compete with TikTok and kind of lost its identity, and now it's trying to like find its way back to people's hearts and minds. So at South by Southwest yesterday, Mark Zuckerberg said, quote, we're working on bringing NFTs to Instagram in the near term. And then he went on to say, uh, the feature will come over the next several months. Why? Like, why? I don't know. Why? I know we had talked about it before, and you were saying that this is a play for them to compete with OpenSea.
Yeah, OpenSea being probably the dominant market right now for NFTs, but they have had obviously, and we've been covering this. I've been covering this on my LinkedIn for months and months and months. They've been having issue after issue after issue, copyrights, trademarks, hacks in their system. The company, grew so fast. Talk about catching a boom of interest in the emerging technology. OpenSea caught that wave, I think, better than any other marketplace, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they did it right.
Right.
And I think Instagram, yeah, I think you're right. They're flailing around trying to figure out exactly their space in all of this, but so many questions start to arise in terms of, what we do in terms of intellectual property. Like, imagine you have social media influencers that are putting up just regular posts as NFTs, and they're selling those off and whatever. And, it just begs so many questions on there's millions of users all simultaneously doing this and minting something to the blockchain at the same time. What do those actually track back to? What are those unique ledgers recorded on the blockchain? What do they actually mean? And we're finding in the industry that they don't mean as everything that the buyer thinks that they mean.
Peter? What about this one? What about when you're out with friends? We've been out drinking before. You take a picture with a group of friends. You post it as an NFT. Who owns the NFT if you've got a group of five friends in the picture?
Yeah, that's an interesting question too, because that makes me think about the Dua Lipa issue that we've covered in the past, the Jennifer Lopez issue. I think I'm not sure, possibly Rihanna had an issue
Yep.
where, with the Dua Lipa situation, in J-Lo situation, somebody took a picture of them, paparazzi, and then they put it out on their social media, and then they were sued for copyright infringement,
Right.
because it's the photographer, who owns that copyright, that composition there. So that's a perfect question. I mean, then you get into name and likeness. Can you mint somebody else's name and likeness for a moment in time that you captured a picture
I could
and
see right of publicity issues all over the wall with
across
stuff
the
like that.
board?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, and I've said this before. The concept of indemnification clauses, that's going to be a Web 2 relic. It's not efficient. It really never was. And all it does is just open up the ability to put the blame on somebody else when you find out that the intellectual property you thought you got in a purchase or a license deal or something like that, a distribution deal, wasn't there to begin with. So these companies rushing to get these NFTs out are not taking the time to clear the intellectual property behind it. So I'm sure we're going to see the same kind of issues with Instagram.
It's the same issue. I mean, that's the issue that OpenSea has been having, where it went back and figured out like what 80% of they're saying like 80% of the NFTs on OpenSea at one point were fraudulent. But I imagine like fraudulent isn't necessarily like active fraud, but more so companies and individuals putting out NFTs and not knowing much or anything about intellectual property and the way it works and copyrights and all that stuff, and
Yeah,
not realizing like they put something out, there's another owner on it. Now there's a dispute over this NFT and it plummets the value of that NFT.
yeah, and just to add to that though, to clarify a little bit, so the OpenSea had a place to freely mint your own NFTs on their platform. 80% of those freely minted NFTs within their platform, the OpenSea themselves said, we acknowledge that 80% of them are fraudulent, scam, um, NFTs. So it wasn't 80% of the all of the content on there. But if you're thinking about how this works and you're thinking about, I mean, we're talking that the OpenSea owners, the founders, are now worth, I think, $2.3 billion
A
each.
ton of money.
The mass amount of minted NFTs to the blockchain for out OpenSea. I would imagine that IP clearance was not done. And it's only a matter of time until that percentage of fraudulent and scam NFTs rises, not only in the 80% of the freely minted, but in the actual individual submissions that were minted elsewhere, where people were
Mm-hmm.
claiming that they had the rights to do this. And you do not have the right to mint an NFT that displays a copyright or a trademark if you don't have permission in the Web 2 world to display that copyright or trademark. So that's the disconnect. Education is key in this space.
So I'm imagining that this back to the Instagram bringing in NFTs space. What we're talking about today is I imagine that part of this is the play into the grander scheme of Zuck and Meta and building out a Meta, and he's saying that Meta has pitched an ambitious pledge. This is an article I'm reading on the blog. Meta has pitched an ambitious pledge of building out a virtual and augmented reality universe described as the next phase of the internet, which we know are fondly calling Web 3. That's why we're the Web 3 attorneys.
Yeah.
And the firm that is working on Meta's Reality Labs, the team working on the metaverse reported a loss of more than $10 billion in 2021. So they're pouring a ton of cash into
Okay.
this. And I'm wondering if any of that cash is going towards studying intellectual property and how it works
Well,
within this space.
interesting you say that, because I've been noticing I get a lot of recommended jobs on LinkedIn a lot based on my profile. And I've seen at least 5 or 6 pop up recently of intellectual property attorneys, intellectual property contract specialists, intellectual property contract negotiators, and people that are familiar with licensing as positions, high paid positions at Meta. and they've been popping up a lot. And I think that they're trying their best to get ahead of it. The workload, the overhaul is going to be absolutely enormous. And the one thing that I just anticipate happening, if you look at the Web2 world and you look at how we sort of tried to get a hold of copyright infringement online in terms of is specifically music or just content in general, we look at content ID software,
Mm-hmm.
which is proven time and time again. It's easy to trip.
Yep.
It's not very efficient and
Nope.
it doesn't tell the full story. So if they're going to apply those same methods to the metaverse and to the blockchain world, it's going to be an absolute disaster. They have to get in front of it from the jump better than they ever have before. Because once you mint and once it goes to the blockchain, making it work on the back end is an absolute nightmare.
I'm really interested to see where this goes with NFTs and Instagram. As we've seen, there's really not that much to go on. We'll see where it goes. I mean, we know that, NFTs are going to play a major role within the metaverse as a whole, from just having like your avatar and what they're wearing being NFTs, and like the space you're in having NFTs displayed within your metaverse space and all that stuff. How it's going to work on Instagram, I'm skeptical.
I'm
I'm
definitely skeptical. I'm skeptical of all of Meta and and Instagram. Anyways, I don't like centralized control. I'm not a fan of big tech. They have too much power and they don't use it for good. They use some of it for good, but we've seen through the Instagram whistleblower and a lot of different whistleblowers that have come out that big tech is well aware of the impact their algorithms and their tech has on society, and they just refuse to do anything about it if it's resulting in dollars and cents for the company. And it's sad. So them getting into the Web3 space, I don't know if they just cleanse themselves and have an ethical approach to something all of a sudden, but who knows?
I highly doubt it. But all right, that's NFTs and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, let us know what you think about Instagram, where they're going with this whole NFT thing. Other than that, we're the Web3 attorneys. We'll see you guys on the next go round.
See you next time.